The subject matter was about free speech versus hate speech. Victoria University postpones debate after student backlash. I won't go through the whole thing, but maybe the first couple of paragraphs. Victoria University has postponed a planned debate on freedom of speech after concerns the event would become a platform for hate speech. Last week, student magazine Salient criticised the lack of diversity of the 5 confirmed panellists, singling out the inclusion of the Free Speech Union's Jonathan Ayling as a consistent supporter of harmful rhetoric. Now, there's a very good line in this, because I read this a couple of paragraphs last night, where one of you said, there it is, probably this one here, the Free Speech Union are looking to defend the issues, the speech, sorry, that the Free Speech Union are looking to defend is consistently speech. This is a great definition that fits under the United Nations definition of hate speech, and that is the concern we have with the university. Why is it that you feel hate speech is a legitimate discourse that shouldn't be suppressed? Now, just so you know, Markale, last night we did a bit of a chat about this, and I said, in general, I'm someone who leans towards more speech is better. But I'm all someone who knows there's no such thing as a free speech absolutist. And all we got to do is think about putting a threat towards a politician or stuff, or yelling fire in a theatre. And also on top of all of that, acknowledging that I'm not part of one of these vulnerable groups that may or may not be impacted by certain speech. So I'm always wanting to listen and see what others have got to say, while still in general leaning towards more speech rather than less speech. So tell us about the university situation, what you guys were trying to tell them, and the outcome from it, because I believe there may have been a little bit of exaggeration in some of the articles that we've read. So why don't you tell us your part of it, tell us what was happening, and tell us why you took that position.
Yeah, so the idea behind the free speech debate originally came from an op-ed that the Vice-Chancellor Nick Smith wrote for the Post, which you can look up if you just look up Nick Smith free speech. Which is really interesting, and it's him talking about how the ACT Party's new free speech bill will make speech in universities less free, because of the way that sometimes opening up the doors, kind of like you said, yelling fire in a theatre type of thing. So there you go. The problem with the government's free speech law. So it came out of this, and I think one of the reasons why people like Ayling were invited is that they wrote responses to this article, which was interesting. But I totally back Nick in this article and the points that he's making here around how, sometimes people think that they're making speech more free, but actually it's restricting often minority groups from being able to put forward their views. And the issue that we kind of brought up when the university put forward the panel, first of all, there was an issue of diversity. Everyone on the panel was Pākehā. And we were really concerned about that because there had been talk about the panel discussing topics such as te tiriti. And most people who I have spoken to did not feel comfortable with te tiriti being discussed, especially anyone Māori who I spoke to, didn't feel comfortable that te tiriti was going to be discussed without a Māori person there to speak for it. Another issue is that and I've spoken to many Māori staff who had been asked to sit on the panel, and the reason that they had all given for not sitting on the panel was that they didn't feel it was a safe space for them.
Right.
And that was really concerning. These are our academics. These are people who are so well versed in what they do. They're the top of their field. And if they don't feel comfortable sitting on a stage because of the other people's views that are up there, that is preventing their free speech, right? Which is what the Free Speech Union seem to be all about. And then the other issue is what we've covered, which is that the Free Speech Union have consistently promoted and protected speech that promotes hate. So some more examples of that, as well as the Bachelor co-governance things. There was Posey Parker when she came to New Zealand. They have done some articles around things that could be more left-leaning, like the cancellation of Rainbow Storytimes. But even then, they blame the council for cancelling the event because they say that everyone has the right to protest, and the council is taking away people's right to protest those Rainbow Storytimes.
Look, the truth is the Rainbow Storytime ones, we covered that quite heavily. When actually Ayling was talking to Plunkett, and Ayling wanted to make sure everybody knew he was a Christian, and as a good Christian man, he found the behaviour of the drag queens abhorrent. So he that was literally, I mean, he wanted to use the word abhorrent, but disgusting. We played it on the show. So he says he's standing with, and look, we've been saying it for a long time. I firmly believe, it's my honest held belief, if they decide to get litigious, it's my honest held belief that they're a right-wing psyop who throw in a few lefty kind of things every now and again to try and save face, to go, oh no, we talk about everything. Stefan Molyneux is one of the probably worst cases of who they've supported coming across here, which is just, black and white. And even Graham Linehan, I think his name is, who I think, on reflection, it's an interesting conversation, because some of the things he was complaining about in the UK have now, the laws have switched in the UK. So there's an interesting debate to be had there, but it's certainly not coming from a place of sort of, let's have an authentic academic conversation. It feels like it's more coming from a place of, I'm right, you're wrong, let me punch down sort of thing.
Yeah. The other thing that I find really interesting about the debate is that a lot of people have conflated free speech with academic freedom. They're not quite the same thing. They're similar, and I can see where it comes from, but they're not quite the same thing. And under academic freedom, with the law that is set out by the Ministry of Education for what academic freedom means, it says that universities have an ethical need to protect the right to speak and challenge ideas that are based in evidence, research, and scholarship.
Right.
And we didn't feel that the debate format was going to promote things that were based in evidence, research, and scholarship. We didn't believe that there was enough moderation at the event to ensure that things were based in evidence. And so that's what we've asked the university. And I mean, to their credit, the university have postponed the event so that they can look at reformatting it to include more voices, have more diversity, make sure that it can be moderated correctly so that what is being discussed can be based in evidence, research, and scholarship.
Kia ora again, whānau. The clip you've just watched is brought to you today by our patrons. If you want to be a part of what we do, if you want to get behind what we're doing, if you're enjoying our content and wanting to share our content, then maybe you would consider being a patron to Big Hairy News. Head to www.patreon.com/Big Hairy News to sign up to one of our levels and be a patron. At this point, we are only a listener and viewer supported show. It all comes down to you guys. If you feel like jumping on board to help, then head to patreon.com/Big Hairy News. Hooroo!